Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Here we are at a modest 47K. Obviously, we have to live stream this because we are moving up quickly. Um, we were at 45K not that long ago, and now we are at 47.5. So let's see what happens. It looks like we avoided our house earlier. But let's see. I mean, okay, so let's look. 50, 48K, 50K. Um, Actually, let me post this in a couple different places. All right, so here we are. We're at 47K. Let me switch over to the daily time frame. We're making a move. We're definitely making a move, and you can see that a lot of altcoins are not. They're doing okay against USD. Some are up, some are down. You can see here Link has gone up slightly from earlier. ADA has more or less stayed the same. DOT is still around $23. They're doing okay, but they're all going to be bleeding against Bitcoin. And I'm sure the dominance here, we said earlier, if we break above 45K, then we're likely breaking out here. So we have in fact broken out. So I guess Bitcoin reminds us that it is king. You know what's crazy is the closing price yesterday was like 38,000, and today the closing price, I mean, it literally went up like 10K. Like, look at this. The closing price yesterday was 38,871, and the closing price that we just finished was 46,448. So it went up $10,000 in one day. And if we look at the variation between, say, the bottom and the top of the wick, it was like 23%. The high and the low was 38,057 up to 46,750. So it literally spanned. It was basically almost a $10,000 move to the upside in a single day, which I don't think Bitcoin has ever moved up 10K in a day before. It's not in like one day. It's never moved up 10K, and it still hasn't because this was not 10K. But we certainly will expect at some point during the market cycle, I would expect 10K moves in a single day. But we certainly came close to it that time. How's everyone doing in crypto today? Yeah, obviously percent move is important. We're just talking about, can it go 10K in a day, and the higher we go, the more likely it will. Yeah, I mean, 50K is not that far from the current price. 50K would be just another 6 or 7% move, right? So like a 6 or 7% move from here, you're looking at a $50,000 Bitcoin. Ether Bitcoin is taking a hit, for sure. It is definitely taking a hit. I mean, this is generally why I say, if you're super heavy Ethereum, you could always be a little bit more aggressive converting to Bitcoin whenever Ethereum runs. But if you're not super heavy Ethereum and you're already heavy Bitcoin, then you could just ride these out and just kind of wait for the shifts back and forth, right? You just keep waiting for the shifts back and forth. Yeah, like back up to the top of the channel for the fourth time, and I mean we could always come back right around and come back up. So one thing that I thought was cool, and I posted a tweet about this. The same day that Tesla announced, let me reload this. The same day that Tesla announced that they bought Bitcoin was the same day that Bitcoin flipped Tesla. Isn't that pretty? It's kind of poetic. The same day that Tesla says they bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, Bitcoin has now flipped Tesla and is the number 9th asset by market cap. Not by currency. Obviously, there's like currencies that have much higher market caps. But in terms of assets, like gold, Apple, Microsoft, it's number 9. Does this necessarily have to be bad for alts? So my interpretation of what's going on for altcoins would be that they're just going to more or less, they're probably, in terms of their USD valuations, they're probably going to be sitting somewhat, not, I mean, some will do okay, but for the most part, they're not going to be doing anything overly amazing until whenever, and as we said before, right, if Bitcoin breaks 42K, it'll go into price discovery mode, and whenever we have to wait, right? You have to be patient. We've seen these types of moves before. Yes, the other coins will likely move at some point, but as long as Bitcoin is in price discovery mode, it's a Bitcoin show. It's just as simple as that. It's a Bitcoin show until Bitcoin stops. Let's look at say 2-week candles. It's interesting because they kind of have this pattern. So on the 1-week candle, you have some of these red weeks. On 2-week candles, you really only have one down week. On 1-month candles, it's just up, right? So far, it's just up. In this month, or in 2019, we had 5 candles. We had 5 1-month candles in a row that were all green. Here, we're currently in our 5th one. So this is our 5th one in a row, starting from October, November, December, January, and February. Let's see how many we've had in a row in the past. How many times have we seen 5 green candles, 5 green monthly candles in a row? So let's take a look. So we had it here, right? Assuming this one stays green, obviously we still have 20 more days in February, but we have, and by the way, if you're wondering why the price says 38,000, it's because it just shows weekly closes, daily closes. The Bitcoin price is actually at 47,000. But let's just look at all these. So we had 5 candles here, 5 monthly candles here. Here at the peak, we just had 3, but here was 5. So we had 5 right here. Have we ever had more than 5? I think that's an interesting question to try to find the answer to. This was just 4, 3, 4. This was 2. So here it looks like we had 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in 2012 and early 2013, we had 6 green monthly candles in a row. And we also had, looks like one, these were green down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here was 7. Any more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here is another 6, cluster of 6. So we've had 6, 6, 7, 5, 5, and 5. So we actually haven't had 6 green candles in a row since late 2012, early 2013. So if Bitcoin were to, continue green in March, then that would basically be the first time we've had 6 monthly candles in a row green, basically where we're closing higher than where we opened since 2012 and 2013. Is alt season over? As I said before, right? It's kind of like what's it called? Never mind. Anyways, I think we're kind of just in the phase of waiting for Bitcoin to stop, and then when it sort of calms down for a little bit, then I think the other coins can run as long as Bitcoin doesn't capitulate. Nothing has changed, right? I mean, everything is the same. Nothing has really changed. As long as Bitcoin volatility is high, alt Bitcoin valuations will bleed. Whenever Bitcoin goes past its all-time high, volatility goes up, therefore alt Bitcoin valuations will bleed, but alt USD valuations still somewhat hold on okay. So now the question is how high will Bitcoin go before ultimately calming down long enough for alt season to continue? That's ultimately the question, I think. And whether or not Bitcoin can actually stay calm enough long enough for alt season to continue. I mean, it certainly makes me more bullish on Ethereum. Who owns Ethereum? I know a lot of you guys hold more Ethereum than Bitcoin based off the people that I've spoken to. So hopefully, as we've seen before, hopefully Ethereum will follow in Bitcoin's footsteps. You just have to give it time. Looks like a lot of people have a lot of Ethereum. Does the top red band apply? As I said, I mean, it's only fit to 3 data points. It could pass it. It's just a guide. I wouldn't necessarily say that, just because it reaches this point that it has to dump from there. So we'll see if it can make it. Basically, all it is, it's just the equation fit to those three data points. Those 3. This one, and this one. So if we make it to that level, then we're basically just continuing on our fit, right? Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're still not at 100,000 we're still not at 110,000 subscribers, which is kind of crazy. We're at 109,000. Let's get to 110,000. And remember, if you want to join a chat community, we have a Telegram channel. You can join that. So where do you guys think Bitcoin's going to stop? Where do you think it's going to stop? Are you thinking 50K? Are we blasting up to 50? So 50 is up here. It's only about a 6 or 7% move, as we said. So it's about at that level right there. is around 50K. We got a lot of 55s, 80Ks. So 80K would be at the top of the band. If it went to 80K, it would correspond to getting close to the top up here. I mean, you guys know me, right? I mean, I'm bullish on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, ADA, and DOT. I've also added a new one for those who haven't been following today, right? Or if you're not on the premium list, which we discussed about 3 weeks ago, Avalanche is one I'm watching as well. So keep your eyes on Avalanche, and Avalanche is one of those ones that has recently moved up the ranks considerably. I mean, it was like 43 just a couple days ago. So we want to keep our eyes on Avalanche as the cycle progresses. So I mean, it's possible here we're having a momentum shift, right? So, and we need to consider this as one of our key momentum shift times, where the winds change. You know, the winds change a little bit, and we go on a new path for a little while. So we're gonna remain a little bit open-minded with this and say, okay, well, maybe alt season is temporarily put on hold while Bitcoin reminds everyone who is king and says, don't you forget it, right? When Bitcoin starts moving, it will definitely leave the rest of the markets sitting still for the most part. Someone asked, are we likely not to see a big reversal? I don't think the reversals will be quite as bad as they were in last market cycle. Like, I don't think I don't want to ever say we're not going to see it, right? But it seems less likely that we'll see an 85% drop because we've shown before that volatility is decreasing, and that goes for the upside and the downside over the, say, like an entire cycle. So I would anticipate the downside not being quite as bad as it was last cycle. So yeah, Ethereum is obviously one of the main points of discussion here because, you know, so first of all, we have to say there's two things, right? There's two things I think that it comes with Ethereum. First of all, it will likely not run significantly against Bitcoin until Bitcoin volatility calms down. We know that, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, whenever it does start moving, it can move quickly. We've seen how quickly it can move. We watched it go from $200 or $100 back in March. Now it's at $1,747. The 1-year ROI of Bitcoin, if Ethereum's one market cycle behind it, could put Ethereum, you know, at around 3K within a month or so. Okay, not financial advice, might not work out like that, but getting to a $2,500 Ethereum to a $3,000 Ethereum, to me, would not be surprising at the very least, right? I would honestly, I would be more surprised if Ethereum doesn't make it to $3,000, right? I would be more surprised, and you might be wondering, why is he not talking about $2,000? a $2,000 Ethereum at this point, well, it's not a guarantee by any means, right? We could get rejected here. I mean, if Bitcoin were to capitulate back to 20K or something, right, we're not going to be getting a $3,000 Ethereum in the short term. But if it doesn't and Bitcoin holds on, then it just seems like a matter of time before Ethereum gets to 2K. The question then is can it make a run at 3K? And as long as Bitcoin stays healthy, I don't see anything precluding Ethereum from making it to $3,000. It seems like it's extremely likely. We've seen this type of stuff before. Now that Bitcoin has moved up, we always said the price of Bitcoin's not invariant. So now, if Ethereum were to go to, say, the top of the channel again, let's say it went to, say, 0.05, right? 0.05, where would that put us? Well, if it were to go to 0.05, obviously, 2,500, right? 0.05 times 50K. So if Bitcoin were to, say, go to 55K, then 0.05 would be a 2,750. If Bitcoin went to, say, 60K, then 0.05 would be $3,000. And note that Ethereum could go above 0.05, right? I mean, it could rally all the way up here, just like it rallied all the way down here before. So I think what you're going to see is, as long as the Bitcoin rally continues, Ethereum USD will limp along, right? It's not going to do anything spectacular, most likely, but it doesn't mean it can't break 1750. It doesn't mean it can't break 1800. It doesn't mean it can't break 1900. Maybe it just limps along for a little while and slowly goes up. And then at some point, Bitcoin will correct some. Ethereum will correct harder. People will get scared, and then Ethereum can run and make another massive run. So that's my general understanding of what's going on. What would likely happen with Ethereum is that whenever the Bitcoin volatility calms down, Ethereum is essentially just loading up on rocket fuel right now, right? It's kind of funny that Elon Musk is buying Bitcoin because he also owns, or Tesla's buying it because Elon also owns SpaceX, and we're talking about rocket fuel. But I think that Ethereum more or less right now is loading up on rocket fuel, if you want to consider it like that, and that whenever Bitcoin volatility calms down again, Ether hopefully can make a push up to maybe the top of this regression band right here. And I think it's possible because Bitcoin, as we've shown if we put on the regression rainbow for Bitcoin, it tends to drop down a few regression bands, right? Approximately 2.5 so far. That's obviously in danger of being broken. It might have already broken. 2.5 so far, but it never goes up to the prior regression band, right? Like this one made it to this regression band, but then the next one only made it to this purple one, and then this one only made it to, say, to this one here. So in the same way with Ethereum, this one is so far down, we're still 3 regression lines down. Obviously they're not the same width, it's not the exact same thing, but we don't need to go back up there in the short term to make it to 3K. We don't even need to go up here to make it to 3K. We don't even need to go to this band to make it to 3K, really. We could just maybe go to the top of this one and make it to 3K. That's why I think 3K is possible, because it's not like we're asking Ethereum to go back up to the top of this regression band. We're simply asking it to push past this one. And I don't think that's as tall of an order as, say, trying to say that it's going to go back up to this point or this point in the short term would be a tall order, because that would be corresponding to like a $9,000 to a $17,000 Ethereum in the short term. But I certainly think this one is on the cards, and even this one might be on the cards. Probably not these. Not in the short term. These will continue to move up, so I don't know if we'll ever be able to reach these up here. But this one seems like it's possible, and even this one is maybe possible, so we'll keep an eye on it. So again, for my people, for the people that are not following along, we're not saying Ethereum can't ever hit 10K. I'm just saying I don't think it's going to hit 10K in this band. These are increasing. So you just extend these out, and they'll eventually reach much higher levels, right? You can tell they're increasing. So this one's already at 5K, and I'll contend that we could easily make it to the top. We could make it here this market cycle. I mean, obviously this curves over, but if you just extend this out like this, the top of this regression band will be at 8K in a year. Okay, so or maybe even higher. So I do think Ethereum can eventually make it to 10K. I'm just saying I don't think it can make it to 10K tomorrow or next month. But I mean, 3K in the next month, I think is still a possibility. I mean, if we say increase, continue going up at this rate more or less, let's just kind of draw a line through. We're not going to draw support or resistance. Let's just kind of draw it through the middle of the data and assume we spend about the same amount of time on both sides. If we continue on up this path, we could be looking at a 3K Ethereum in the not so distant future. But let's go back and look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's at 46.9. So it's still, I mean, it looks like the local top on Coinbase is 47,550. Yeah, my coins my thoughts on Litecoin have always been that it's probably not the best coin. I mean, the opportunity cost of holding too much Litecoin is often not worth it. It tends to be better to put your money elsewhere. It doesn't mean that Litecoin can't trend up occasionally, but I just think that other coins will outperform it. Yeah, and I mean, and again, with Ethereum, I would say it's good to hedge your bets, right? I mean, that's why we talk about Cardano and Polkadot as some good, some other coins to have besides Ethereum. And you can see they're both having really good weeks, right? A modest 46% for Polkadot, for Cardano, a modest 92%, and Ether's only 23. So, I mean, you guys know me. I was loading up on ADA and DOT like crazy last year. So these are the ones that I'm hoping to see continue to soar. And you can see that ADA and DOT, I mean, they're about at the same market cap, 21.582 billion and 21.250 billion. They're about at the same market capitalization. And even though they're at 20 billion, they're still an order of magnitude behind Ethereum. Okay? They're still an order of magnitude behind Ethereum. Last cycle, the market cap of Ethereum, it got up to like half the market cap of Bitcoin or something, and I feel like DOT and ADA could also close the gap so that it's not an order of magnitude. Maybe they can get to say 25% of Ethereum's market cap. If they were to do something like that, then you'd be looking at, you'd be looking at it going up a lot from here. I mean, so 200 billion. Right, to get to say 25% of what Ethereum's current market cap is will be 50 billion. So you're looking potentially at another 2.5x for both of these coins, and a 2.5x for both of these coins would get you to 25% of Ethereum's market cap. So this is the point of having hedges. You don't just want all your eggs in one basket. This is why you hedge. And you can see that these coins are doing relatively well. There's other coins that are doing well that are also along the same type of hedging idea, right? There's other coins that are along the same line of thought. Like Cosmos is one, Atom. It's doing really well, 57%. It's the same kind of thing, right? Same kind of thing. So Taylor says, I don't want 2.5x, I want 10x. Well, I would say first you should take what you can get, but that also assumes that Ethereum's market cap stays constant, which I don't think it will. I mean, I'm saying it would take ADA or DOT a 2.5x from here to get to Ethereum to 25% of Ethereum's current market cap. If Ethereum's market cap were to go up 5x, then obviously for ADA or DOT to get to 25% of that, you need to go up a lot more than just say 2.5x. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 110,000 subscribers. And also remember to check out the Telegram channel. We need 3 more people and we will be at 15,000 subscribers. And also, if you guys want to check out the premium list for weekly reports, weekly videos, the Telegram alerts channel, Telegram chat room, a risk dashboard, I'll post that as well. We're having a sale for the season, all season, though theoretically right now it's Bitcoin season, but I posted that in the comments as well. You can also find it in the chat room if you want to lock in the lower rate. So what questions do you guys have? What do you guys want me to talk about? We're just kind of watching the price here. We'll see what it does. Of course, I come back on stream and the price stops moving, but let's see what's going on. So let's switch it over to the minute. So I started streaming right there. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not even kidding. I started streaming 30 minutes ago. Right here. That's where I started streaming. The curse. This move has been pretty ridiculous. I'm just kind of drawing a line through the data to kind of see our general trend here. I mean, if we continue going up at this rate, we could be looking at a 50K tomorrow. If it keeps going up at this rate, we could be looking at a $50,000 Bitcoin tomorrow. I'll try to move the microphone closer so that it doesn't get so much of the laptop fan, but there's only so much I can do right now. Someone says alts are bleeding. Yeah, they're going to bleed against Bitcoin. We said it, if Bitcoin breaks above 42K and goes into price discovery, alts will bleed against Bitcoin. This is why, we covered this. This is, of course, what's going to happen. Yeah, we can briefly talk about it. So, okay, so here's Link. So, with Avalanche, someone said, what, can I talk about that moving average that I talked about in the video? What I said was basically that a lot of the coins tend to be bouncing off their 20-day. So I was saying that, maybe chasing it when it's up 150% is not necessarily the best idea. But if it drops to, say, back to the 20-day, right, or something like that, then it might present a timely opportunity. My point is that I don't know what it's going to do in the short term, but certainly chasing something that's up 150% in a week is dangerous. So I was saying, maybe keep an eye out for the 20-day, and if it comes back to the 20-day or something, that could be a nice bounce, potentially. There's also the 21-day EMA as well. Sorry, I know it sounds like my laptop's taking off. I think it's just following Bitcoin. I mean, right now, I mean, the bulls are in control, right? The bulls are still in control. So that's our current local all-time, or our current global top right here. So we'll just see if we end up breaking that. Today was a pretty crazy day for crypto. Yeah, I mean, to hear Tesla putting in 1.5 billion, I'm guessing they did that back in January, is certainly going to turn some heads. You know, I don't normally talk about the news, but if Tesla's putting in 1.5 billion into Bitcoin, then we should probably talk about that. Yeah, maybe Elon should say that that Tesla's also buying Ethereum. I don't see any problem with that. I wouldn't mind it if he wants to announce that they also bought, like, you know, $500 million worth of Ethereum or something. I mean, why not? Ethereum's actually doing pretty well, right? I mean, this is 1761, which, I mean, is not that surprising, right? We expect it to trend up, as Bitcoin will likely drag it up. But let's switch this over to, say, the minute time frame for Ethereum. So Ethereum's global top now is up here at around 1776. So moving above that, we go to maybe 1800 and continue our climb. And it could be that one option, by the way, one potential path for Ethereum to get to 3K would be like it gets dragged up by Bitcoin for a couple weeks to 2K, like it's just a slow drag, like kind of like it was back in like December, where Ethereum was just kind of slowly moving up, but Bitcoin was taking a commanding lead. So maybe Bitcoin drags Ethereum up over, you know, a certain period of time, and then Bitcoin stops, and then maybe at that point Ethereum's at 2K, and then Ethereum goes parabolic up to 3K or something. Maybe that will be the route we take. I don't think we're going to hit 3K Ethereum by tomorrow, but I mean, wouldn't argue with a 3K Ethereum tomorrow. Who wouldn't want to see a 3K Ethereum tomorrow? Yeah, I mean, if we go to 3K tomorrow, yeah, I mean, we would basically be at the top of the next regression band, right? We would be at the top of the next one up here. We'd be above it, actually, because the top right now is around 2,800. All right, here's an interesting question. What do you think will happen first? Okay, what do you think will happen first? A $50,000 Bitcoin or a $2,000 Ethereum? With the adoption of Tesla and whoever else comes next, you see an extended bull cycle. Yeah, I've always seen an extended bull cycle for this market cycle. I don't think it'll end in the end of 2021, but it might. We'll see. Looks like most people are thinking a 50K Bitcoin. Looks like everyone, for the most part, is thinking a 50K Bitcoin. So a lot of people seem to think a 50K Bitcoin will come before a 2K Ethereum. I feel like 95% of people are saying 50K Bitcoin before 2K Ethereum. I could see that. Yeah, I could see that, right? I could see that it also could correspond to around the same time, too. I mean, maybe Bitcoin drags Ethereum up to 2K while it goes to 50K, but I think that's probably, I think the chat probably, it's more probable that Bitcoin hits 50K before Ethereum hits 2K. The only reason that that wouldn't necessarily be the case is if all of a sudden Bitcoin loses steam at 47K and just decides to chill out for a week. Then, of course, Ethereum can make up the ground. But as long as the bulls are with Bitcoin, it certainly seems like a 50K Bitcoin is more likely than a 2K Ethereum to happen first, anyways. I think both will eventually happen, but to see which one will happen first, probably right. Probably a 50K Bitcoin first. Yeah, I know the general thing is if everyone's saying it, it won't happen, but you could have said the same thing when Bitcoin was at 20K and at 30K and at 40K. We ran polls on the channel asking people if Bitcoin would break 20K, and most people said yes, right? And then we said, will it break, 30K? And most people said yes. So if the idea is that the majority is always wrong, that's not always true, because the polls recently, everyone just keeps saying it's going to go up, and momentum is hard to break, right? Until one day it breaks, and then everyone is somewhat, they're kind of beside themselves as to what happened. But momentum is hard to stop. But it can be stopped eventually. It's just hard to stop it. Yeah. All right. Another question. What about a 55K? Yeah. So what do you think will happen first? A 55K Bitcoin or 2K Ethereum? I think that it's possible that a 2K Ethereum happens before 55K Bitcoin. Um, but I guess it depends on how quickly Bitcoin goes up, right? I mean, if is Bitcoin going to give Ethereum any days to rally, or is Bitcoin basically just going to steal the show for the next 2 weeks? If Bitcoin steals the show for the next 2 weeks, then um, then I think that even a 55K Bitcoin could come before a 2K Ethereum. But if Bitcoin gives Ethereum some breathing room and says, okay, I'll take 3 days on, you take the second shift, I'll take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you take Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or something like that. Then yeah, of course Ethereum can hit 2K before Bitcoin hits 55K. And one thing too is Ethereum it's still looking fairly similar, right? If you just scroll back and look at these moves, these weekly moves, right? So we just started a new week. So let's look at this since we just started a new week. So Ethereum's prior top was around 1440, right? So around that level. And so we have these 5 candles, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our fifth one broke through. So what did Bitcoin do? Well, Bitcoin did the exact same thing, right? I mean, it was basically the exact same thing. So Ethereum so far is following in Bitcoin's footsteps. So you look at weekly candles, you go back to the prior all-time high, which was down here. So we go to 19.5. Let's go somewhere in that region. You see this similar pattern, and now that we've started a new week, let's see where we are, because we can actually calculate out where we might go. So we have 1, 2, 3. These aren't really drawing that well because of the time frame. 4, and then 5. Okay, so the same pattern. So but Ethereum has been slightly more volatile than Bitcoin. So the first week for Bitcoin was here, leading up to breaking the prior all-time high, and from candle bottom to candle top, it was 15%. So Ethereum during the same time, leading up to the prior all-time high. Sorry, not that one. The next one. So we're talking about this one. It was 30%. So it was about twice as much, right? Bitcoin was 15%, Ethereum was 30%. And then the next one, let's measure it from the top of the wick down. So from the top of the wick down, it went down 17% for Bitcoin. What did Ethereum do as it approached the prior all-time high? So let's hide that, and we'll calculate this out. So it dropped 28%. So similar type thing, right? So it's dropping. Ethereum is more volatile than Bitcoin to the upside and the downside. And then Bitcoin had from candle open to candle close a 6% move up. Ethereum from candle open to candle close moved up around 14% or so. So again, it's showing it has about twice the volatility here as Bitcoin does. And then again, a similar move, right? If you go, let's say take it from candle top to the bottom of the candle. It was about a 1 or 2% drop for Bitcoin. For Ethereum from the top to the bottom, it was around a 7% drop. And then after that, we both know what happened. Bitcoin broke through on the 5th week. And it moved up from candle open to candle close 22%. I mean, you can see them up here, 22.49% for Bitcoin. What did Ethereum do? Well, we just put in our weekly close. So let's see what it did. From candle open to candle close, you can see about 22.5%, 22.66%. So Ethereum this last week did 22.66%. Bitcoin did also 22.68%. So basically the exact same move. So then what happened the week after? What happened the week after for Bitcoin? So then we take a measured move. We say, okay, well, the week after that, Bitcoin moved up another 11% or 12%. So what would that look like for Ethereum? What would cause Ethereum to move up, say, only 12%? Well, one way for that to happen is if Bitcoin's rally continues. So then Bitcoin dominance goes up, Ether Bitcoin valuation bleeds, but Ether USD is dragged up by Bitcoin. So if that happens and say Ethereum goes up, let's say 12% this coming week, let's say Bitcoin steals the show, Bitcoin's already stolen the show, but let's say Bitcoin keeps the show for the next week or so, then from, let's go back, so it was 12%, so 12%. So where would 12% get us from open? So 12% would get us to around $1,800. Let me get this more accurate because I don't know how accurate that is. I gotta zoom in here. So 12% would get Ethereum to 1814. However, we also showed that there's several times when Ethereum's volatility is about twice that or so of Bitcoin's. So let's suppose that Ethereum went up 24%. Okay, let's say 24%. Then we would be looking at a $2,000 Ethereum, right? So if it went up 24% this week, we would be looking at a $2,000 Ethereum. Now, following that, what happened? What did Bitcoin do after that? The following week, it put in another 25%, and then the week after that, we'll go all the way up to the top of the wick. It went up another 30%, so 25 and then 28. If Ethereum did the same thing, and let's not even give it 24% this week, let's say 20%. So let's say from here, Ethereum did another 25 and then 28, like what Bitcoin did. Then it would correspond to, so the next week it would correspond to here, going up, say, 25% or so. So that would be around $2,500, $2,400, and then 30% from there the following week would put it just over 3,000. You know, and I think the way that it would get to 3,000 would not be to be completely dragged up by Bitcoin the entire time. Maybe it gets dragged up for a week or two, but an ultimate, you know, a major move for Ethereum will likely come on the back of Bitcoin calming down for a few days. Make sure you guys subscribe. Let's get to 110,000. There's no good reason we can't get to 110,000 subscribers. So make sure you subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Our likes are at rookie numbers right now. They're about 1/5 of the current viewership. Those are definitely rookie numbers. Make sure you guys subscribe. Hit the like button. Remember, we have the Telegram channel. We have over 15,000 people now. So we'll post that in case you guys want to join the Telegram channel, over 15,000 people. And by the way, we also have another Telegram channel on microcaps. So if you guys have you're pining to talk about microcaps. We have a Telegram group with almost 3,000 people to talk about microcaps, and we'll plug that one here too. It's called Into the Cryptocosm. And then, of course, we have the premium list altcoin season sale going on, even though you could argue that altcoin season is taking a break for a little bit. If you guys want to lock in the lower rate, you can check that out. And for those who want, we also have the lifetime deal as well. We have a Discord server, actually. It's just not very active. I'm not very active there. Yeah, someone talked about the Bitcoin dominance. We're not. I mean, we're basically speculating on, is this a momentum shift or not, right? Is this kind of where we're gonna trend back up a little bit? I mean, Bitcoin would need to do a lot to be able to make it back up to this level, because a lot of the altcoin valuations are a lot more inflated than they were over here. So I'm not necessarily saying we're going to make it back up to that level, but it could always be a shorter term reversal. Like, it could be something like this where it comes down and then back up, maybe back up to this level or something. So we'll see how high it can come back up. Can I go over on what the Bitcoin dominance means? Basically, it's just the market cap of Bitcoin divided by the total cryptocurrency market cap. So it's just the percentage of the market cap that Bitcoin has. Opinion about Cardano, where do you think it can peak in this bull run? I gotta say, I mean, I would be disappointed if it didn't make it to at least $1.38, because that's where it made it last cycle. I think a multiple from there would be somewhat likely. Not financial advice. I reserve the right to be wrong. But, it's not like I would be that surprised to see like a $5 ADA, a $10 ADA at some point over the market cycle. But remember, the market cycle could last a while. Like, it might not be tomorrow. It's not going to be like next week, most likely, in terms of the grand market cycle. But I mean, like a $5 to $10 ADA, I think is theoretically possible. I mean, if it were to go much higher than that, I probably wouldn't be along for the ride. I'd be running for the hills with my profits. I don't know about you guys, but at some point, I'll just say, you know what? Enough's enough. It's too risky for me, too hot for me. I'm getting the hell out of here, and I'll catch the next ticket whenever it's time to board the train. But if I did not have Ethereum already, would I invest in it now? As I've always said, I'm not buying crypto right now. For me, this is the time. We had 2.5 years to buy crypto. Now it's the time for me to just let things run and watch them all as to what's going on. If I didn't own crypto, I would always start with Bitcoin. I would say that Bitcoin's too risky not to hold. After buying Bitcoin, then I would buy Ethereum. So it'd be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then after I got, say, small positions in those, because I recognize the short-term risk right now is really high, I maybe would then go into some other coins, and then if we get a correction, then you come in more, right? So it's all about, are you new to the show? And if you are, you have to recognize the downside risk, but it doesn't mean you can't DCA into the market. I mean, even people that DCA'd into Ethereum back in 2018 are up now. Or at the beginning of 2018. So it also depends on your time frame, right? As long as you have more of a longer term outlook, you can come in at higher risk levels. Okay, obviously you can come in at higher risk levels if you have more of a macro term outlook. But if you're looking for a quick flip, then you're more so gambling, right? You're more so gambling in the short term. Do I think Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin? Yes, I do. If you measure each site, I think Ethereum's one market cycle behind Bitcoin, so I think it will outperform it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make more money because you might have a couple days to cash in on that higher ROI, and if you don't take advantage of it, it could be gone. But if you're talking about, say, in 2021, I do think Ethereum will have a higher ROI if you measure it from, say, January 1st, right? If you take the ROI of Ethereum and Bitcoin as measured from January 1st to, say, the end of the year, I think Ethereum's will be higher if we stay in a bull market. If we go back to a bear market in between now and then it's probably going to be the reverse, right? And then Bitcoin's ROI will be higher than Ethereum's. So it depends on the ebb and flow of the market between now and then, and whether we stay bullish or if we switch bearish. If we stay bullish, I think Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin. Make sure you guys subscribe, and let's get to 1,000 likes. Let's get to 110,000 subscribers. We're currently at 109,000. So who's making a lot of money? Who's making a lot of money in crypto these days? Would you say this is one of the best times of your life in terms of pulling in a lot of cash? Remember, you got to be careful. It's not profit until you cash it out. But hopefully people are doing okay for themselves. Honestly, if you find yourself in a position where you're not making money in this type of environment, then you're doing something wrong, right? You have to take a look at what you're doing and figure out what you're doing wrong. By the way, one other piece of advice, okay? Things can get crazy, and we'll all, the market will be crazy for a while, the chat will be crazy for a while, and then one day it won't be. If you find yourself, if you entered crypto, and I'm just telling you from my own personal experience, so take it with a grain of salt if you don't care about this type of stuff. My own personal experience, right? You're a genius. Your family and friends right now, how many are in this situation? Your family thinks you're a genius, your friends think you're a genius, your friends are like, oh my gosh, how did you get so lucky, right? Who's in that situation? And we told you guys, last year that when this happens, whenever it happens, it was not luck. It was not luck, right? It was a calculated investment, and it paid off, right? You took the downside risk. You decided to take the risk, and it paid off, right? And now you're reaping the rewards, okay? So, so the point is, though, right? There's a fine line between genius and idiot, right? There's a fine line between genius and idiot when it comes to crypto. Let's just be honest, right? Because you could be a genius one day, and then one day, at some point, you go from being a genius to being the class clown because you're like, oh, you watched it go up and then you watched it go down. So if you if you entered into crypto with the idea that you had this specific goal, that you're going to pay off your house or you're going to pay off your student loans, whatever your moon is, right? What they say, your moon, whatever that is for you, don't feel bad for taking profits at various points to have that life-changing money, right? Make your life better, and then you can still continue on in crypto. And maybe, once you've paid off your mortgage, once you've done other things, you can afford to be more risky because you have more income, right? You're not putting it towards your mortgage. You're not putting it towards your student loans. You're not putting it towards your car payment. So, getting those things paid off, while it can suck in the short term because you have to sell your crypto, it can also provide you more flexibility later on, right? It's just one way to look at it. Again, if that's not your thing, that's not your thing. But having goals and sticking to them can also help free up more capital in the future. Again, there's always another train to ride. There's always another ticket to buy, another train to catch. Yeah, I gotta tell you, some of these trains have a lot of momentum. I'm curious, I talk a lot about 5 different coins, and I'm always curious who owns these coins. We talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, ADA, and DOT. Okay? What like does everyone own all five of them? So like I'm always curious about kind of where people are. So let's say Bitcoin is one. Let's say two, three, four, and five. So Ethereum, Link. So just as a quick poll, and I'll pause the chat so I can look through these. If you own all five of them, write like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or if you only own a subset, you could write like, like 1, 2, 5. Or maybe you don't own Bitcoin and you own like say 2, 3, 5. I'm curious as to where people are. Does everyone own all of them, or are you guys sitting on? All right, so let me take a look here. So we got looks like a decent number of people own all of them. We got some 1, 2, and 4. So we got Bitcoin, Ethereum, and ADAs. Looks like a lot of people own Bitcoin. A lot of people are just Bitcoin and Ethereum, which I expected. I honestly expected that. I expected a lot of people to just be Bitcoin and Ethereum. We also have some Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink. We got some 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's some people that just own Bella, right? Bella. I told you guys, I have 3 sons, and I said before that if I ever have another kid, which I don't know if I want another kid, to be completely honest, but if I ever did, it's going to be hard to not name, if it's a girl, to not name her Isabella for Bella, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. My wife's not too fond of that idea. She might also wonder why, if we do have, say Isabella, she might wonder why there's a period after her name, but we'll know why, right? We'll know why. Dot is also there, so we'll know why there's a period after her name. Can I do an EOS video sometime? No, I don't. I personally think that, as I said many times on the show and on the premium list and all that stuff, I've said for years now that I think EOS is going to trend down, right? I don't see this one necessarily doing that well. I think it's going to trend down. I also think BSV is going to trend down. I think Bitcoin Cash is going to trend down. I think Litecoin is going to trend down. I mean, sometimes I just get that stuff out of here and make room for more useful projects. Is my opinion, right? Let's just say it that's my opinion. Make room for more useful projects and get these out. I'd like to see, I got to be honest with you guys. Like, I don't really follow Aave, but I mean, this is one that I don't own really, but and I was not buying it last year. But it's one on my radar, and if we get like a nice market dump at some point, I might add it to the list, right? I might add this one to the list. You guys know I own Uniswap for sure, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what other coins will rise to the top. Joshua Byrne says, Ben, I always ask you, but you never see it. Do you put any of your money into any DeFi services? Yes, I do. I've mentioned it several times, though. I use a lot of these services. I'm not going to review specific platforms. I've tried doing it, and I get accused of them being paid promotions, even though they're not. So we're not going to review the platforms. But yeah, I do use DeFi all the time. I also use centralized finance. Some people might not like that, but it is what it is. I'm here to make money, and some of them have pretty good interest rates, and so it is what it is. How do I factor in short-term capital gains when deciding to take profits? Yeah, it's a good question, right? I mean, it's a good question. I find myself having to face that question with things like Polkadot, right? Because I only started accumulating Polkadot at the end of last year, between $3 to $6, so I'm not anywhere close to long-term capital gains on Polkadot. So it is something that can make me pause and not want to necessarily take profits, because there is a huge advantage if you live in the United States to wait a year. With that said, imagine living through the 2017-2018 bubble. Let's suppose you bought some crypto in the summer of 2017. You would have been so much better off selling it the first couple weeks of January and paying the short-term capital gains than waiting until the summer of 2018, right? If you bought them in the summer of 2017 and you sold them in the summer of 2018, you're probably not doing too well, right? So there are times where it does make sense to take profits. For me, I mean, a lot of times if I can get it to, if it's a 10x from my cost basis, it's really hard not to take profits at that point. Because you're looking at 10x, so yeah, I mean, if you pay short-term capital gains, if it's like 40% or something, it sucks, right? But it's a good problem to have, and then you take your money and move on, and you look for the next trade. But it's a good question, and the reason we don't talk about taxes a lot is because it depends on your country, depends on your income level, depends on a lot of things. Like some countries don't even tax crypto to crypto trades, while others do. Some countries, long-term capital gains are 0%, while for others it's not. So it just depends on where you live. What did I cash out this cycle? Well, I mean, to be completely honest, I did sell some Bitcoin. Some of it, a lot of the Bitcoin went to Ethereum back in December, and it also went into like Link, ADA, and DOT back in December. We were talking about that Ethereum Bitcoin move, and also some of it went to it in November as well. The markets are really hot right now, so trading crypto to crypto back and forth, it's kind of like a casino almost. So I would say be careful, right? Be careful. I certainly am taking some profits out to stable coins and just earning interest. I mean, yeah, you kind of give up a little bit of the short-term upside potential, but I still have the majority of all of my crypto positions, so I'm letting a lot of them just ride. But imagine if this keeps going on for like 3 more weeks. Like the market's just going to be even more insane, like week over week over week. So selling token amounts of crypto every once in a while to say fiat or something, and just buying yourself some safety. You make sure you have your rent money, you make sure you can maybe pay down your mortgage, maybe you pay down your car payment, whatever it is, right? Nothing wrong with that. Make yourself have a better life, and then crypto can wait, right? Crypto's still going to be here. You can still make money in crypto. There's still going to be several phases where you can make money in crypto, but along the way, you want to better your life, right? There's nothing wrong with improving your life. And if you can do that with crypto, then you're doing a good thing. This is my opinion. I mean, like imagine you say have like, a certain, imagine you say have a certain amount of and by the way, I need to tell you guys something that I see happen on a lot of forums a lot. So pay close attention if you find yourself, this is not financial advice. It's not something you can take to the bank or anything like that. But imagine you have 100%. Let's say you start off with, say, X amount of crypto, okay? And you also find yourself in a position where maybe you can pay off your mortgage with, say, 2/3 X or something, okay? So you could sell, say, 66% of your crypto and pay off your mortgage. Now, you could do that, right? You also have to factor in taxes, so make sure you factor in taxes into that equation. But one of the things you also can do, I mean, you could just pay the mortgage, right? You pay the mortgage and then you own your house, right? The other option is you can always put this money, this 2/3 X, into say a lower risk account, right? So you might move it into a lower risk account. So lower risk. and maybe it nets you a few percentage points. I don't know. I mean, it depends on how risky you want to be, right? You could put it in the stock market. I mean, you could argue the stock market is overextended. But let's say you could earn, I don't know, let's say you could earn 5%, which is maybe kind of high in terms of being super risk averse, maybe even 3% or something. But I mean, there's a lot of stable coins. I mean, there's a lot of platforms where you can earn like, like 5% or more. I mean, it depends on the amounts. So what you could do, and this is one option. It's not financial advice, right? But I just see this all the time on Reddit and other places. These people will say, all right, I sold all of my crypto and I paid off my house. One thing you could do is instead of instead of paying off your house like right away, is you put it into a different lower risk account, and then you use the interest, right? You use the interest to pay your mortgage payment. Okay? So you just use it to pay your mortgage. And then when your mortgage is paid, you still have the principal. And then you can put the principal back into crypto, right? So you have to consider there's other possibilities than necessarily just say taking it all out and putting it immediately onto the house, because mortgages today you can get like 2 to 3%, 2 to 3% interest. So if you think you can beat that in the market, obviously there's risk involved. There's always risk involved. Everything has a risk. Watching my video tonight carries some level of risk, right? So if you think you can beat that in the market, like say 2 or 3%, and you can get say 5 or 6%, then you could just use maybe the interest on this to pay your mortgage payment, and then ultimately retain your capital, your initial capital that you took out of crypto, and then you just put it back into crypto when the risk is low, right? Is that not a possibility? I mean, the problem is that if you okay, so let's start again. So let's say if you have X crypto and you sell 2/3 of X, the problem necessarily with paying the bank, right? Let's say you pay the bank, and they're happy to take your money, but if your interest rate was only say 2%, or I mean it's probably not 2%, but let's say like 3% or something, you're basically saying I can't beat that in the market. If you think you could put this in say some mutual fund, a mutual fund or something like that, and earn say 5%, then you use that again. You use that to pay the interest on, or you use that to pay the mortgage, and then until it's gone, and then you at least have your principal, and then you can take your principal and put it back into crypto, or you could say to hell with crypto, I'm just gonna keep growing this because I like the lower risk lifestyle, and maybe you already have enough money in crypto because maybe the 1/3 X that you kept in has now grown back up to X, and you're happy with that. Just an idea. This is just one idea. It's just one idea. You can pay your house off if you want. If you want to do that, nothing wrong with that. If you want to pay your car off and just be done with it, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying this is an alternative solution, and I think people should be aware of all possibilities, right? Let your money work for you, right? Let your money work for you. In my opinion, I mean, it's good to have some debt, right? Because, so we bought a car recently. For my wife's birthday, I got her a 2021 Subaru Ascent. A Subaru Ascent. We have 3 kids. We need a 3-row vehicle. And guess what? They gave us 0%. They gave us 0% loan. There's no way in hell I would pay that loan off, right? It's an interest-free loan. Okay? Why would you pay it off? Like the bank is giving us an interest-free loan. So 0% is amazing, right? So sometimes debt can be a good thing, because then instead of paying outright for the car, you then take that money, you put it into the market, right, into say a low cost, a lower risk fund, and then you use what you make there to pay off your car payment, and you keep the principal. Obviously, it banks on the fact that you're hopefully putting it into something that truly is low risk, and not something, you're not putting into someone who's like high risk ETFs or something. But it's just one idea. And a lot of these crypto platforms, their interest rates will fluctuate, right? I mean, a lot of times if the interest rates you find are much higher than you would find elsewhere, it's not long-term sustainable, and they will lower the interest rates at some point. Yeah, the whole by the way, I just gotta say this for the people that are talking about there's one, and I just gotta say how ridiculous this advice is. I'm not gonna say who says it or anything like that, but there are people out there that say, if you have, say, let's say you have three loans, right? And one has a 3% interest rate, one has, say, a 5% interest rate, and one has a 7% interest rate. But let's suppose that this one you have 100K. Let's say this one you have 100K at 3%. This one is, say, like, I don't know, 200K at 5. And this one is, say, 300K. I'm just making up numbers, by the way, at 7. Actually, no, I did that backwards. So let's say this one's 100K at 3. This one is 50K at 5. And then this one is 25K at 7, right? There's a lot of people out there that will tell you to pay the highest value one off first, the debt snowball, right? So you pay this one off first. That is the worst advice. This is the advice you tell to people that can't think rationally, right? They can't think rationally. Oh, this one's the highest amount. It's 100K. I should pay that one off first. No. It's the highest interest rate, right? It's the highest interest rate. Because, if you add them up, right? If you go like 3% times 100K plus, 5% times 50K plus 7% times 25K, you pay the highest interest rate one off first, right? It's simple. The advice that some of these people tell you to pay the highest one off first, and the reason they tell you this is because they assume to some degree that you're not smart enough to recognize, paying off the loans, and obviously there's some people that'll tell you to do it in the reverse order, right? They'll say you pay the smallest loan off first, right? You do the smallest one, but then in that scenario, the people that'll tell you that, they'll say, you do the smallest one. Let's say this one's at 25K, and this one's at 50K, and this one's at, say, 3%, and this one's at 5%. Some other people will tell you to pay this one off first, so that you can use all the money you're putting towards this one to put into this one, and at least by paying this one off, it feels like you're making progress. This is stupid too. It's ridiculous, right? You don't do that. You always the high interest rate. This is the one you need to take care of first, in my opinion. Not financial advice, not something to take to the bank, but you pay I would always pay the highest interest rate one off first. The other ones you are not as likely to want to touch. Why are we talking about this? Let's talk about Bitcoin. So we're at 46,454. Yeah, I know there's the snowball method too, right? Where you pay off I'm not talking about one specific guy. There's a lot of guys. So there's this method, right, where you pay off the smallest loan first, and then you pay off the next largest loan, and then the next largest loan. And this is regardless of whether you're, whatever the interest rate is, right? This one could be 1%. This one could be 3%. This one could be 5%, and this one could be 7%, and they'll tell you to pay off this one first because it's the smallest. This is stupid too. You pay off the one with the largest interest rate, right? They're just assuming that you're not smart enough to recognize that even though this one takes longer to pay off, it still will net you more money in the long run. You just have to stay diligent, stick to the math, don't stick to the ridiculous idea that it's just whatever. Let's get back to crypto. Not financial advice, of course. None of this is financial advice. If you wanna go pay off your lowest interest rate loans off first, then you should do that. That's up to you. Obviously, there could be situations where you might argue it's different. Like it could be, maybe you have a student loan that'll be forgiven or something. Then that's a different scenario. All right. What do we got? I mean, so we've been going for an hour and 22 minutes. So we've been going for 88 minutes. So, we started back over here, or 82. We've been going for 82 minutes. So we started the stream right there. Right there. How many people use my live streams as a signal that the local top is in? I'm just giving you guys time to think about what you're doing. You should treat it as like an opportunity. I'm like I just come on stream. I'm like, hold up a second, right? Let's see what's going on, and give people time to contemplate what they're going to do. All right, if we do get a nice little Bitcoin pullback, expect alts to have a knee-jerk reaction, but they can recover quickly. I mean, this is hardly a correction, right? Imagine yesterday saying, a 46K Bitcoin is a correction. I mean, it was at 38K yesterday, or yeah, it was like 38K yesterday. So this is not correction territory yet. But I'm saying, like if we did get a correction, alts would have a knee-jerk reaction to them, but it doesn't mean they can't trend higher after the dust settles. There is a baby crying. I suppose someone in the chat probably mentioned XRP. So someone, who was it? Figure it out. Who mentioned XRP? That's generally why they cry. Do you guys want to hear the 4-year-old song about buying Bitcoin? His non-financial advice. If you guys want to hear it, I'll play it. But I will urge you to remember that if you have earphones in, or you have someone sleeping in the background, now would be the time. Now would be the time to turn your volume down. But I recorded him saying buy Bitcoin, and then Ryan, who's one of the guys in the Telegram channel, put this little song together. So here we go. Here we go.
Buy Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin.
Can you guys hear that? I don't know if the volume was up high enough. I'm just saying. I mean, he doesn't offer financial advice, but he's been playing that song for weeks now, and it's worked out. Make sure you guys subscribe. Let's get to 110,000. And give the video a thumbs up. We're still putting in rookie numbers. 1,258 likes, 3,060 viewers. No, I don't want to put the song as my intro for each video because it would just waste time, right? Let's be efficient. Let's just get down to business. That's why if you guys notice, like, there's a lot of YouTubers that have like 2 or 3 minutes of ads before they talk about anything. They're like, oh, like, thanks for watching my show. Here's 10 different affiliate links that you should check out. Here's some paid promotion that I'm not going, that they might not disclose, or 100 different things. And then, oh, it's the 3-minute mark. Let's actually talk about something. I try to get to the stuff within 15 seconds or so. If we start adding stuff, it just makes things inefficient, right? Then you just have to listen to the same stuff over and over again. Yeah, I know people are going to talk. People are going to talk about it. I'm sure. You never really know what's going to happen in the short term, right? I mean, we're still all the way up here. I actually might need to head out soon, but I might be back later tonight. Valentine's Day is coming up. I should probably get my wife something, and that'd be a good use of maybe some of the crypto money. Should I get her? I should get her a Bitcoin. I don't think she would appreciate that. She'd probably just like, we own enough of that garbage. That's probably what she would say. Huh. So, Dan says what? You can't buy a chair, but you'll buy chocolate and flowers. I don't know. Who said I was gonna buy chocolate and flowers? I don't know if you guys noticed, but on this little drop here, um, Dot's taking some names. Did you guys notice this? Dot's not stopping. Dot doesn't care. It's our honey badger for the day. It doesn't care. Look at this. These are it's moving up here. I mean, it's up about 4% in like 20 minutes or something. What color is the Subaru Ascent? It's white. She wanted to paint it yellow. I hopefully talked her out of that. She hasn't painted it yellow yet. Let's hope that she doesn't. Hey, and if it did flip Ada, like someone said, there's nothing wrong with a little friendly competition, right? Let's let them compete. Everything does better when you let things compete, right? Look at this. They're just competing. Now it's Dot and then Ada. Earlier it was Ada and then Dot. Why yellow? It's because her favorite car, or her favorite color is yellow. Corey, glad you like the channel. What percentage of crypto do you plan to exit in USD in the end game? I have these like risk levels I stick to, so it depends on how things how high things trend up. November 27th to the peak, it matches the current scenario. Do you mean like the November 27th to that peak? I don't know. You say, are you thinking this? If it did that, it would go up to 70K. Alright, well. Make sure you guys subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Should we wrap it up? I mean, the market's not doing a whole lot this very minute. I mean, we can always come live later. Maybe we should wrap it up. I still haven't even eaten yet in like forever, so. Now, I wouldn't schedule the Forbes interviews just yet. I would hold off. If you have them scheduled, you might want to cancel those. Someone's like, no one has eaten. Has anyone slept since 2020? Not many people have slept since 2020, probably. How do you copy the graph like that? You just go over here, you click this one, you go to bars pattern, and then you just kind of click where you wanna do it, and then you overlay it, and then you just move it. You can see that's where it is, and then you can just shift it over or something. Basically, you can just get the pattern and put it somewhere else to see what's transpiring. Like if you wanted to see where we are from, say, like market cycle bottom or something, you would just take the bar pattern from, say, here up to the top, and if you wanted to say that we were on track, which I don't know that we will be, but you could try to compare, say, cycle bottom or something like that or something. All right, let's wrap it up. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe. At the very least, if I go off stream, maybe then Bitcoin will rally again, and then I'll come on stream when it's rallying and then kill the rally, and we'll just keep rinsing and repeating. So make sure you subscribe. Reminder, we do have a Telegram channel. If you guys want to join, over 15,000 people. So I'll post the link in the chat. And we also have the premium list, altcoin season sale going on. If you want to lock in the lower rate, you can do that. Just follow the link in the comments or in the description below. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope it was enjoyable. None of this is financial advice, just my own discussion of the markets. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye.